Alright guys, what is going on? My name is Joe, aka Cap.
Scott Dash here.
And I'm Francis.
And this is The Push. We are back, boys. Once again, we have, by the way, for anybody who missed the TikTok, we are going through some changes with The Push right now. You might notice that a certain member of us is not here. Dom is not here right now. And it is because, he's not here because of his own reasons right now. Dom is still on the show, everybody, we promise. But the big thing that we mentioned is that we are going to be doing these podcasts live on Twitch starting soon. We have a bunch of live content coming to Twitch. We're going to be posting it around. We're going to make sure that everybody is with us. And we're going to have a grand old time over there on Twitch. You'll actually be able to see our faces too now.
The only downside to all this now is that now I actually have to start wearing pants to record.
You should have been wearing pants the entire time, Francis. I don't know how many times I have to tell you this.
Francis, Cap, I'll have to admit, I don't think there's a single moment during this podcast that I wasn't wearing just my underwear.
Why would
Scott gets it.
Why would you admit that while we're recording?
Our own home, Deed.
Okay,
Cap,
well,
I love you like a brother, but if you tell me you've recorded wearing pants, like, if you tell me you've never recorded in your undies for like
I
one
haven't.
session, okay, you're a liar.
Okay, well, I'm not, so fuck you.
Well, you are, and how about you go blow a zebra?
How about you go get a better fantasy team? How about that, huh? How about you think about that? How about you get a better fantasy team? How about you get better at fantasy football?
Okay, how about you get better at...
Oh,
you got nothing. You got nothing.
No, shut up. You probably have one of the top 3 biggest knowledge on football, and yet you picked the worst team I have ever fucking seen. You don't get to speak right now.
For anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, we're gonna give like a little behind the curtains real quick. We have our own fantasy football team that we do. It's the 4 of us, and it is a couple of our other friends. We have a fantasy football team. We had our draft this past Sunday.
Evidently I drafted like shit even though I was doing my best this time. Because that's all you fuckers do. All you do is judge me.
No. Okay? You're doing your best. You don't understand the fact that the best players are on top. And his first running back he drafts is a 3rd string from the Cowboys. Who probably would have never gotten picked up in the bench, let alone in a fantasy draft. 2, you picked a tight end as your first pick, and he wasn't even the best tight end in the league. And I don't hear no BS about you picking, he wasn't available, you were the 2nd pick.
Yeah, Francis, I'm sorry to tell you. The moral of the story here, folks, is that we had our draft this past Sunday, and Francis, despite having some of the best football knowledge of our entire friend group, drafted a team with his eyes closed, apparently. I don't know what happened. I genuinely thought he was like auto-drafting or something like that. Like, this is why I didn't
want to do it in the recording, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to stop myself. Because I was just gonna get more and more angry. And you mentioned it, and that just got me flared up. I was like, motherfucker.
Oh, God.
Remember when this show was about wrestling? I missed that.
Oh, come on. This is the kind of comedy that people can expect on Twitch when we move over there at The Push Wrestling. Be sure to follow us on Twitch as we make this jump. We're actually really excited to start doing live content with people. We're going to be interacting with chat. We're going to be doing reactions to the weekly shows. And, of course, you will always expect us to have our regular old podcast every week. Only difference is you'll see our faces and we will be fully clothed.
Sorry
apparently.
in advance.
What are you talking about? I'm fine. You speak for
No,
yourself.
he's probably just gonna wear. He's probably not gonna wear any clothes one day during a recording.
He fucking better.
I'll be decent.
He better.
Nah, it's cool. I'm gonna wear the Terry Bogard hat.
Beautiful. But anyway, yes, as Francis mentioned, we are a wrestling podcast, so let us start talking about wrestling. Once again, unfortunately, Dom is not here with us this week, but we are doing our prediction game this week for the Bash at Berlin. I have his predictions on me right now, and we will be talking about that later on in the show. But for right now, guys, let me know what the heck's been going on in wrestling this week.
Wow, you actually caught me off guard because I honestly thought we were gonna do that first.
No, we always save that for the end of the show. You know this. How often have we been doing this show, Scott? How do you?
I thought you were gonna. I know. No, I know we always do it last, but it's just because you sounded so convincing. I was like, wow, maybe he's gonna change it up out of nowhere and surprise the hell out of him. No, it's nope. I like doing it last.
Run of the mill episode.
Yep.
Nothing new ever happens here.
Because I got a few questions, few topics to talk about because apparently my colleagues over here don't want to do it.
Don't want to do what?
Have topics. Except for Francis Pete Hour.
I have topics.
So do I.
Alright, good. You guys made it seem like you didn't have it. No, I'll go.
Nah, it's all good. You go first, Scott.
This is the first one I'll ask. So, we talked about this topic before in our previous podcasts about certain wrestlers who have just been killing it and who hasn't really gotten a shot. And the last person we talked about was Dom Mysterio because he hasn't really fought for a title. Really, he was just always standing there around. But
being a geek.
I forgot what podcast. I always forget the name of the podcast, but it's one with Bubba Ray. And he talked about Otis. And I don't know if it was actually him talking about it, but the person said is, he basically does everything right. You can't see a flaw in his character. And when you actually get to think about it, you don't really think of a flaw. I mean, he's technically a big guy. He's insanely flexible for his size. Like, he's a tank. He's not big, he's a tank. But he's acrobatic for a person of his size. And he doesn't speak much, but it always seems like a big impact into the story when he does open up and speak.
Yeah. So wait, so what is the...
Why hasn't he really been given an opportunity for a title? I mean, he had the Money in the Bank, but then he lost it.
Oh my God, he did!
And he never really got the
passion
to get that big moment.
Doesn't even remember. Okay, so essentially the question is, why hasn't Otis gotten a push? Is that essentially the question here?
Yeah, because the fans love him. They never go they go crazy for him, just not to the level of maybe the others, but he still gets a hit.
Okay, well, I think it's I think I can actually answer this, and because I think the answer is pretty obvious here. Look, we don't really talk about Otis much on this show outside of when we were talking about the Chad Gable storyline. So the thing about Otis to me is, I think he is. Don't get me wrong, the man is extremely talented. This whole thing about him technically being a big guy, no, he's not technically a big guy. He is a big guy. Like he is. He just is. Like this guy. This man at one point, I believe they said. This man, I think at one point held like the deadlifting championship or something like that. The deadlifting world record. Like the man can like essentially bench press a planet if he wanted to.
I think it was at the fitness at their
Yeah.
their fitness center. I forgot what it's called.
As far as his character, I mean, I've never been upset watching an Otis segment, to be honest with you. Like I've never been upset watching it. I think when they were the Alpha Academy, I think it was some of his best work. The problem with Otis though is, for some reason, the man struggles to shine outside of a group. Like let's think about this for a minute. We first met Otis when he was part of, for some of you who still remember them, Heavy Machinery. Him and Tucker Knight, no longer in WWE.
I totally thought the other way around. I thought Otis was going to be the one that leaves, and they were going to keep the other dude, because the other dude was the same thing. He was moonsault off the top rope, and he's a big guy too.
Oh no, he was phenomenal, and obviously between the two, he was a bit more comfortable on the mic, I guess. But people just fell in love. He was. People just fell in love with Otis.
Because
you know, when they were doing the whole Mandy Rose line with him, the people just fell in love with him. Some people felt jealous of him, Francis.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I'm looking at you. No, do not get no, Francis. Do not go full Ziggler.
No, listen.
Nobody ever should go full Ziggler.
We were all jealous when Otis had Mandy Rose, because we all wanted Mandy Rose.
Thank you, Scott.
But anyway, yeah, no, the crowd just like absolutely fell in love with him during that time. I think that you would have seen more of an effect with that, you know, had the lockdowns not occurred, had they not moved over to COVID, to like the Performance Center. I think if that never happened, you probably would have seen a much bigger push for Otis, because you would have been able to physically see the crowds just exploding. Just exploding for him. Like if Money in the Bank had happened in front of a live crowd, I think it would have gotten a much bigger push than it actually did. So I do think that hurt him a little bit. And I think another problem, especially at that point, was that you know, we were under the old guard of WWE, aka the Vince McMahon era. And we know that Otis did not necessarily fit that bill that Vince was looking for, and this was especially during the time where he was making some really like weird decisions. Of course, we figured out why later on, allegedly. But now I feel like the thing with Otis, it's not that he is bad. It's just the level of talent. The size of talent has just like doubled within the Triple H era at this point, that there's not really any room for him outside of his usual stick, you know. I liked him with the Alpha Academy. I like him with Akira Tozawa and Maxine. But unfortunately, like I can't even see him getting a mid-card shot over, you know, even some of the mid-carders they have right now, because I think over on Raw the mid-card slot is stacked to the brim. We've been seeing that with this Intercontinental title tournament that started last Monday. So unfortunately, I think his big problem is that there's literally not enough room for it right now outside of what he's doing.
Yeah, Francis.
Well, it's everything that Cap said, but also there's the added disadvantage, and I don't want to sound like a Kiss Rex when I say this, but like, I feel like they're pushing the other really big athletic men, Bronson Reed, who can arguably do it better than Otis, or at the very least can do everything that Otis does, but has the added benefit of being able to stand on his own, not tied down to any specific faction or clique.
Yeah. Yeah, with that, we'll transfer over because we all wanted to talk. I know me and Kat wanted to talk about this.
Well, hold on. Before we do that, what do you think? This is your question. So why do you think he's been held back?
It's just the characters he plays. That's the only thing.
You think he's going to be stuck as the big, happy-go-lucky, big dumb fuck guy?
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's unfortunate for him because I had a character in mind, instant character in mind when I came to Otis, and I feel like he would play good. Of course, he would have to turn heel, but I want, instead of the Hellfire and the demonness, I would like to see him as an unmasked Kane type character. More like on the crazy side, where he's like, when first Kane came out, he was all in like a straitjacket, and he was like, chained up because he was so dangerous. I feel like Otis would do really good with that type of character, where he's just this crazed maniac.
He goes on live TV and threatens to light himself on fire if he doesn't win the title.
Yeah, he just gets insanely, like, the words you can, and since they're going to Netflix, you can make him a lot more vulgar. You can make him, like, sound really, like, insane.
You can have him say big boy adult curse words.
And you can even add the dance in there to be, like, to make it something frightening, like, if I get a hold of you, like, he's nuts, like,
I'm gonna crip walk on your grave, Seth Rollins.
Jesus Christ.
What? I'm adding to what Scott's throwing out there.
I know, but I wasn't expecting that part.
I don't know why I said Seth. I don't have anything against Seth. He was just the first one.
Now let's actually. Sorry, Kat. We won't hear your answer on that. What I said, but you could start the topic off because I know you really wanted to as well, Bronson Reed.
Yeah. You know what I say? Let's talk about one big man, and let's go from one big man to another man. Let's talk about the man that is
big man murderer to an actual big man who is a murderer.
Let us talk about Big Bronson Reed, man. And let me tell you something. This man has been making an impression as of late. I share Scott's sentiment when I say that when he was just doing tsunami after tsunami on Seth Rollins, I was losing my damn mind when I saw that. I was like, oh my, there's no way, he's fucking crazy. The man, I love him. I love this dude. Now I know that he committed, the very next week, he committed the cardinal sin of murdering R-Truth with about 4 or 5 tsunamis.
Only way he could be sure.
Just solidifying that, like, no, this man is a heel. He is. Don't start cheering for him. He is a heel. He is a bad man.
When he's not killing wrestlers, he drowns puppies in buckets of poison.
And smiles. Oh God. I like the dude. Yeah. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of like a Bam Bam Bigelow type of man.
Oh Christ.
He reminds me of Bam Bam, and
I can see it.
And that is a type of big man that we have not seen in the WWE in quite a while now. When you see like a big man, when you think of like a big man in WWE, you think like, oh, the Big Show, the Great Khali, you think of like 7 foot tall, 400-pound dudes, but the reality is you don't see a man who just walks around like a big man, Like the man got the weight, and he just like he walks around like he's the biggest man in the room, and he's not. He's only 6 feet tall. But this guy, he's got that big man energy. If you know what I'm saying. And And all of this just like all of this was just wrapped up for me when he took one of the big men in WWE, Braun Strowman, the man who is the monster of WWE right now. And this man decided, you know what? In the words of Team 4-Star, for any of you people that know who Team 4-Star is, I'm going to make I'm going to make Braun Strowman come down with a case of explosions and put him through the roof of a car that then exploded a little bit. I don't know if people noticed that part.
Yeah, it was the light on the roof, but yeah, I definitely want to tally on Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. It's official. This character is gonna go somewhere, and if it doesn't, it's one of the biggest wastes in this new era, because that was the one thing I wanted to see. He's hitting up on all these smaller people, he's destroying all these smaller people, and then when I saw that Braun Strowman showed up and, basically said, pick someone on your own size, even though he's bigger, I was like, this is what's gonna make or break this character, and they did exactly perfectly. Like, it wasn't another six Vlad Tsunamis on Braun Strowman. No, he's like, I need to put him down, and I'm gonna do it in an Attitude Era type way, on top of a ledge, hitting onto the top of a roof of a car, which didn't look like it didn't look like it was Hollywood made, if that makes sense.
No, because realistically, you can't just like do 4 or 5 tsunamis on Braun. Like, not even that's gonna do anything to him. You gotta treat this man like the threat that he is. So how do you take him out? You gotta go extreme, and I appreciate it and I respect it. It gave me that vibe of, like, I don't know if I'd say Attitude Era, but definitely like back to like that ruthless aggression era, that like mid 2000s. We start the show off with Papa Roach every week type. Monday Night Raw.
That opening for Raw.
It was absolutely amazing. We got to do an episode on that, by the way. Like, what are the best like openings?
It doesn't matter. Number 1 is Papa Roach Monday Night Raw. Doy.
Francis, your thoughts?
Yeah, Francis, what do you think about all this?
Well, again, like, you guys brought out all the great points. It's a great way to push Bronson as the new big monster man. Even more so, and I know, like, I feel like I'm going to get deep in certain circles when I say this, but honestly, I'm kind of tired of Braun, not going to lie. Like, I feel like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved Braun when he was at his peak in, like, the mid to late 2010s. But, like, he's like the second best athletic big man in the business after Kane. But even then, like, you look at a guy like Bronson Reed, who can do all the stuff that Braun is capable of doing, but has, like, a larger move set, and honestly, in certain cases, can be scarier than Braun. You kind of want to see more of that, especially now that we're under the helm of the Triple H administration. It's a new generation, and you want to see all these new people get over, aside from several of the ones who've been getting pushes nonstop, it feels, for the past 6 years before all this went down.
Go ahead. Finish.
I was just about to wrap up. So yes, I for one am totally okay with Bronson being Braun's kind of sort of successor. Which isn't to say, like, I don't want to see Braun gone forever. Quite the opposite. I want Bronson Reed, Braun Strowman, and Braun Breaker to form a 3-man faction called Braun, and Bronson, and they come out to the Ed, Ed, Eddie theme. But that's just me.
Oh my god, no. I don't want to hurt you for making up that tag team.
Oh god. Oh god. I definitely don't want to see that. But yeah, no, the unfortunate thing is about Braun Strowman is it's not so much that he's grown tiresome, it's they genuinely don't seem to know. Ever since they rehired him at this point, it doesn't seem like they really know what to do with him.
Like, I actually kind of agree with Francis. Like, he's really I haven't really paid attention to him because he hasn't really been on that much, so I haven't really like used
because they don't really know what to do with the big man is the problem. Like
he's basically on the Jey Uso. For me, he's on the Jey Uso list.
And
people that just need to do. No, I'm not talking about just Jey Uso, but there's a group of people where it's like, you're great, we would love to see you, but for God's sake, stop doing the same shit for the past 5 years. Where in Braun's case, his entire career, because he hasn't really moved on from his moveset.
Also, to add on to that, Scott, and again, I'm going to touch on a really niche demographic. Braun Strowman has basically become the warp of the WWE. And for those of you who don't know what the fucking warp effect is, well, first of all, you didn't watch Star Trek, which I don't blame you, but I do know TV tropes. The warp effect is when you have a guy who is allegedly really, really strong. However, despite being allegedly really, really strong, he continuously gets his ass handed to him by other guys, mainly bad guys, to show off how much stronger they are. And that's basically what Braun's been doing for Bronson.
Yeah, I'm going to level with you. The only thing I got out of that is apparently Francis has watched Star Trek at some point in his life.
The movies. I just saw the movies. Even I'm not nerdy.
But yeah, no, I understand. I understand what you're saying, and let's also think about this when it comes to Braun. It's not just Bronson that's already right here, but you need to think about the big men that they got in NXT right now available. I don't know if you guys have seen Oba Femi.
I'm gonna level with you. The only stuff in NXT I keep up with is Joe Hendry.
That's reasonable, but there is a guy in NXT right now. He's the North American champion. His name is Oba Femi. And for anybody who has not seen this man, you need to see this man. I thoroughly believe that Oba is everything that they wanted Omos to be, except he's actually doing it. The man is essentially a real-life Jabari, if you can believe it. He is incredible, and when he does eventually get called up, and I do believe that even within the next year, Oba gets called up, that's another guy who you can have as the monster of WWE, because this man, that's actually very similar to Gunther, to be honest with you. He just beats you, this guy. He throws you around, he picks you up, and he just puts you in the freaking dirt. I'm being serious. If you guys have not gotten the chance to see Oba Femi, you need to go see some of this guy's matches, because this dude is impressive.
Yeah, Cap. I was thinking this before we started doing this podcast, but the opportunity never showed up. This is the missing. If he's really what you're saying he is, and I don't doubt it, but he could be the missing piece that WWE needs, because I've always felt that they're one piece short, and it's something that they'll never be able to change unless they find this person, and that is our Big Show, our Great Khali. We need someone who is in that level of crap your pants type match. Even when champions have to verse him, it's oh my god.
I don't know that he is. I don't think. Now, here's the only thing. I don't think he's a 7-footer. I think he's 6'8" or something like that. But
they'll make him appear bigger.
Scott, I'm saying this especially for you. When we get off of this episode, go online, go on YouTube, look up Oba Femi NXT. I think you're gonna love this guy. I think you specifically, with everything you've talked about in regards to the big men of WWE, I think you're gonna find it in Oba Femi.
Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely do that.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of NXT, since we're already here, let's talk about last night on NXT, where Joe Hendry,
say his name,
the most over man in professional, the most over man in the world right now, Joe Hendry, hosted a concert last night in regards to his NXT title match this weekend against Ethan Page for the NXT Championship. And it was also announced during this segment that that match will have a special guest referee, the referee being the former NXT champion Trick Williams. He will be the special guest referee for this match between Ethan and Joe. So, yeah, I'm just going to put out the question, guys. Joe Hendry and Ethan Page for the NXT title. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't think it'll happen. I don't know that it'll happen. But follow me down this road for a minute. Is there any chance in hell that a non-NXT superstar, a man who is technically not signed with the WWE, is there any chance in hell he walks away with the NXT title? I'm going to be honest with you. 9 times out of 10, I would say no. I would say absolutely not, but it's going to be a fantastic match. It's just a way to continue this working relationship with TNA. But then you look at Joe. Then you look at Joe Hendry. And you can't think, like, would they? I don't know. You guys let me know.
Listen, I love Joe Hendry as much as the next guy, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think like you would be more interested in the TNA Championship.
Well, why? Why do you think this?
Yeah, you got to explain this stuff there.
Because he's still technically signed to TNA.
I think he's technically signed as a dual partnership.
It's weird with partnerships. Listen, I don't mind if I'm wrong about this one, especially if it like speeds up him coming to the main roster. But at the same time, you know, I just have something nagging at me.
Okay, Scott, what about you?
Francis, do you know how this goes? Like, you need to do what Cap does, like extend your sentencing and make it sound interesting.
I did all of that when I brought up fucking Star Trek. What more do you want?
Not as long as Cap, because you kind of get bored after a while.
Hey.
I love it, Cap. No, I love it. No, it's always great. The way you depict this stuff is great. You do a great job.
All right. Give me a take, Scott.
All right, but yeah, I think this is a great thing for NXT. If this happens, I mean, you got the biggest star in wrestling, period, right now, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna go away. He hasn't really done anything in TNA, but I know TNA tends to have a history of messing things up. So, Triple H and/or Shawn Michaels, I mean, this is gonna skyrocket in a viewership for NXT, because they have someone that not only TNA people are gonna watch it more because so many they loves in it, but maybe people on AEW would be like, you know what, even though I don't like WWE, I really like that Joe Hendry guy. Let me go watch NXT. And it might pull more viewers and everything. And is also the one thing left on what I think is, there was a big backlash when Ethan Page won that title, I remember. I remember a lot of people not liking that decision.
I think it was genuinely.
So this might be.
I think it was genuinely because they thought Trick's title run would be longer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so they didn't really like. I don't know. I heard a lot of people, on social media. I'll go by social media because that's where you get a lot of your opinions on wrestling. But I never saw somebody that was like, "Oh, this is great. Ethan Page is champion." Everybody was like, "What? What the hell?" Like, it almost felt like they thought this was like a botch when he won. They were like, "All right, he didn't really win, did he?" And they were like, "Winner." They're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe, and credit to Ethan Page, man. Like, he's making the most of it. Like, cause I'm gonna be very honest with you. I don't not like Ethan Page. I think Ethan Page is very talented, And, he just has sort of that, he has that natural heel energy, Ethan. Like, you look at this guy and you want to boo him. Like, I think he's got a very booable face, if you know what I'm saying. So I give him credit on that. He is making he's making mountains out of molehills here, and but the thing is, like, he's standing in front of, again, the most popular wrestler in the world right now. And it's just like, he's not a WWE superstar, Joe. He isn't. They make sure to say that he is not a WWE superstar. He's not an NXT wrestler. But I think you have an opportunity here to do something so insane right now. There is an opportunity to put gold around the waist of the most popular wrestler in the world. I mean, how can you not sit there and take advantage of it? Like, you guys are moving to a new channel soon. They're moving to the CW in the next month, I believe. Like, how are you gonna sit there with all of that going on, and you're not gonna at least consider the idea of making your champion the most popular wrestler in the world right now? Like, how are you not going to take that opportunity?
Because fuck you. Nah, but for real, the counter argument to my non-existent argument is like, TNA could use one of their guys getting a WWE belt to boost their own ratings. So, they have that going for them.
Who knows? Joe Hendry might pop up with the title on TNA.
He will 100% do that.
He would do that.
That would be good too.
But I guess the only real reason why I wouldn't see them doing it is because he would realistically have to spend more time on NXT than TNA, and it would depend on how cool TNA would be okay with him doing that.
Well, I don't know. I think if we were still talking about the old guard of WWE,
it's not even I know what you're getting at, but it's not even a matter of like TNA being stingy or anything like that.
No, it's not even a matter of that. It's just like, I don't know. I think that there is. I'm not shocked if he loses, but if he wins. Like, could you guys think the singing is like loud now? The pops are crazy now. Could you imagine what it'd be like if he won gold?
I'm still imagining what it's going to be like when he shows up at the Rumble next year.
Like, if he wins the NXT Championship, and I know what we're saying in regards to TNA, but to be honest with you, TNA, I think inevitably, whatever his contract deal is right now, inevitably that contract is going to run out with TNA. And I think it's crystal clear at this point, WWE wants this guy. They need this man. They need to believe in Joe Hendry.
Well, my thing for that is, one of the benefits for the NXT TNA partnership is like, he can, like, when he's finished with TNA, he doesn't have to go to NXT. Like, he's done both already, so he could just go straight to the main roster.
It's just a matter.
At least I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
when he's done, that's happening no matter what. So I wouldn't be worried about that.
Whenever that contract expires, I think we are seeing Joe Hendry on the main roster very soon, man. But like,
he's gonna show up at the Rumble, maybe do one more thing in NXT, and then after that, that'll be all she wrote. Maybe have a Mania match. I don't know if that's too early to decide, though.
I don't know, man. I don't know. All I'm saying is, like, I think Triple H, and especially Shawn, I think Shawn has the ability, the opportunity right now to do something unheard of to do something insane, and I think that it's too big of an opportunity, especially with this channel change that they're doing right now, this network change. I think it's too big of an opportunity to pass up right now. I don't know. Scott, you got any last remarks?
No, I'm not got nothing.
All right. Well, what else is going on? What else happened this week? I believe we had a pay-per-view this weekend.
So we have the topic.
What's up?
That you want to talk about, or are you pretty much complimented with it?
Nah, we said everything we wanted to. We're gonna go to All In now, buddy.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about AEW goes British. Let's talk about that.
For the second year in a row.
Second year in a row, they go British. That's right. All In was this past weekend. For anybody who is unaware, that is one of the big pay-per-views for AEW. Not quite their WrestleMania, but still a very big pay-per-view. I've seen quite a bit of information about All In. A lot of crazy things happened. A lot of crazy things happened in this pay-per-view. So let's talk about it, man. So let me know what's something you guys want to talk about from All In.
As I have said multiple times, there are only two guys in AEW that I really care about. One of them is his wrestling career can be summed up as TBD, and the other is now the new AEW World Champion. Always, I'm of course talking about the American Dragon himself, Daniel Bryan Danielson. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like you guys were like got dead set on the belief that he's put his career on the line, so he's definitely retiring. But like that just didn't happen.
Yeah, before I give my take, Scott, I want to hear your take on this, because I think we were both on the same page of like, well, he's said that he wants to retire, so like this would have been the perfect spot to do it. But Scott, let me hear your take. What do you think?
I mean, for somebody in Daniel Bryan Danielson's position, I thought he was going to retire because like he's in the same position as Edge. Like, you're doing a wrestling that's a lot more aggressive. But not only that, you guys gotten injured to a point where you couldn't do this anymore, you could have died. So it's always in the back of my mind, it's like, when they offer their careers, it's like, yeah, I mean, usual take on, I risk my career for a title opportunity, and usually they win because, they're not going to get rid of them. Except for if it's like a contract reason or anything. But I thought so. I mean, it was convincing, and in the sort of vein that his daughter wanted him to be a father again, which I thought was kind of funny because it was like a little messed up, but it was funny. There was something else, but yeah, I mean, it's good for him. I mean, seeing him at the main championship, it's good to see that not every single person that left WWE for AEW, besides like besides Jericho and Dean Ambrose, good to see somebody else was doing it.
Well, you say that, but he beat a former WWE guy for this. He beat Swerve.
True, but it's a WWE guy who did better for himself outside of WWE.
By the way, but since we're talking about this match, can we just talk about how Swerve no-sold the running knee?
Yeah, the solid knee plus. I don't know.
That I ain't gonna lie. That was badass, man. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. That was kind of badass. I'm not even gonna lie about it, man. But yeah, I genuinely thought it was interesting because I genuinely believed that Danielson was
Daniel Bryan Danielson.
I genuinely believed that this was going to be his last match in professional wrestling, period. But now he's champion, so obviously that is not happening. And the thing is too, like I watched the match back afterwards. I was like, no, this would have been a perfectly acceptable match to be your last match in professional wrestling ever. Like, this would be a perfectly acceptable match because it was fantastic. It was, you know, all the credit in the world to Swerve Strickland as well. I'm curious to see where this goes now, to be honest with you. I believe Christian, another ex-WWE guy, Christian
Cage,
won a title opportunity at All In as well. So obviously that is going to be a feud, and but it's interesting to me because I always find it interesting because I feel like I've watched so much wrestling in my life that I know I think like I know for a fact where this is going. I can see where a story's going from like 30 miles away. But then they
Edge versus Daniel Bryan. Whoever injures their neck first.
But you know, then they pull stuff like this, man, and it makes me happy to an extent, to be honest with you. It makes me happy when they defy the expectations that I think I have. It, you know, keeps me on my feet, you know. But since we're on the topic of ex-WWE guys, let's talk about another ex-WWE guy who made his AEW debut at All In. Scott, you want to take the lead on this one?
And I'm guessing you're talking about Ricochet, right?
That is exactly who I am talking about. Yes, sir.
Yep. I would like to congratulate Ricochet on top of appearing in AEW, so he can become a forgotten mid. He went from now not only was he a forgotten mid-tier in the WWE roster, he's now instantly put himself into a forgotten tier, a mid-tier wrestler in AEW, because you appear in a match that had a bunch of like, you know, second tier, not second. I don't mean second tier wrestlers is bad, but like people who aren't main champion worthy, like Intercontinental and US type matches only, they would receive.
So here's what I'll say. All right, I do think AEW is. I think it technically fits him better. Because they are focused a little bit more on the athletic angle of professional wrestling. That being said, it'd be hard to say that there aren't concerns here when it comes to Ricochet. You know, we've seen this story before when it comes to ex-WWE guys. Does anybody, again, I ask this all the time, but I'll ask it again. Does anybody want to tell me where Keith Lee has been for a while? But so there are obvious concerns when it comes to, you know, Ricochet's debut in AEW. But I think as far as the debut itself, it did everything it was supposed to do. He went in, he got his spots, and the spots were fantastic as always. I really wish that there was a moment, there was more of a moment, and I'm not sure if there was or not. I might have forgotten it. But there was another guy very much known for his athleticism in this match as well. Francis, you'll know him. Zack Sabre. Zack Sabre Jr. was in this match.
Winner of the G1 Climax of 2024, in case no one heard.
But he was involved in this match as well. And This Casino Battle Royal, man, it had a couple of people in there. I don't know if you guys watched any like old TNA and stuff like that, but Desmond Wolfe as well made his return to wrestling. Desmond Wolfe, aka Nigel McGuinness. Yeah, he came back. Well, more people may know him for his commentary work in as Nigel McGuinness, but you know, Nigel or Desmond either or, you could call him either or at this point, made his return during the Casino Battle Royal. I don't know if this is a permanent thing for him. He may go back to commentary. He probably will. But I just thought it was a cool callback, to be honest with you, back to those old TNA days for myself. Adam Page, he did his thing, and and obviously the whole thing was run by Christian. So that's how he got his title opportunity. Once again, at the hands of Killswitch, or for anybody who refuses to call him by that name, Luchasaurus. You know what I found interesting, by the way, is that apparently Luchasaurus is also like an ex-NXT guy. I never knew that.
Yeah,
to be
same
honest
with
Sami
Callihan.
I never knew that. I never knew that those guys
Tonga
were...
Loa was ex-NXT.
Yeah, he was. I knew he was Camacho. Which, by the way, I think it's interesting that they had a Samoan play a Mexican man, but that is
they had
neither
a
here nor there.
Japanese guy play a Samoan in the 80s.
Yeah,
they don't care.
That is neither here nor there. But yeah, overall, I thought that was an interesting match. And then the rest of the night, we just had a shit ton of new champions. We just got a bunch of new champions, to be honest with you. Scott, I believe you have more information on those new champions.
Yes, I do. Give me 1 second. I'll scroll all the way up on certain topics I want to talk about. There's one of them. You know it. Hold on. We have new AEW World Trios champions. Christian and his group lost. I don't know their names. Christian Cage. The Patriarchy. It says it right there. So, yeah, they lost their titles in the hands of Pac, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio. That's the. I don't know. I'm not trying to say that.
Claudio Castagnoli. You all may better know him as Antonio
I don't see the whole thing.
I believe the audience may know him better as Cesaro from WWE.
Yeah. So yeah, you have new champions in them. For the Trio Tag Team Championships, which I do like. They do have a bunch of factions. Great to see that they have a new title like that. Not new. Well, yeah, it's new. Nobody had that.
Yeah, we can...
Tony Storm. Oh, you want to talk about it?
Just a brief thing. We talk about like the new titles all the time, all of the massive amount of championships that AEW has. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Trios Tag Championships are, in my mind, some of the most sensical titles that they have ever created, because they just have so many good factions in AEW. It was won by the Elite, it was won by the House of Black, the Acclaimed, the Patriarchy, obviously, and now with the Blackpool Combat Club, including Pac. If you would include Pac into the Combat Club. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's like one of the very few championships that they created that, like, I look at it and I'm like, you know what, that makes sense.
I didn't even recognize him. I'm seeing the picture of Cesaro and he has hair. That's trippy.
Yeah, that's
weird. Right?
That's a weird thing to me.
It's not even a lot of hair too, but it's like, he's not bald.
That's what he used to look like before he signed with WWE and he was on Ring of Honor.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think, man.
Now you know how I feel whenever I see Karrion Kross with him.
Yeah, even I look at that, and that's weird to me too. Like, I don't know. Anyway, other champions.
Timeless Tony Storm has lost her title in the hands of Mariah May, however you want to say it. Again, I don't really watch AEW, so I'm going to bomb Steve names. Chris Jericho lost the FTW Championship to Hook. In which he was basically at a 3-1 disadvantage. But with the help with one of the shortest careers, and I wish he never would have gotten injured, but Taz at the very last second stopped one of Jericho's goons and Hook got the victory.
Dad of the year.
Oh God. How do you feel about Hook nowadays, honestly?
I think he's immensely talented, and hopefully they can finally give him the push he deserves instead of having him dick around with Danhausen. Yes, that's how long ago I stopped watching AEW.
Yeah, I like Hook, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest.
he's really talented.
You give this man a manager, and I think he's he's like one of the next big things.
Yeah. Hook is basically Hook's character is what I think of who I think of Hook's character. Hook's character is basically a New York gangster, but from Finley. He's the version of Finley. But he's just a brawler and just straight up wants to just mess you up.
Brooklynite Finley.
New York. He's just the New York version of it.
Yeah, Brooklynite Finley. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I guess I could see that. Yeah.
I could be totally off, but again, I don't watch.
Or another good comparison is a slimmer version of his father.
Yeah, no, he definitely bears a lot of similarities to his old man. But the problem is he just does not talk that much, and I think you should lean into that, to be honest with you. Give him a manager.
That's what Sting did in the 90s.
I'm being very serious. I'm being very serious. You give this man a mouthpiece, and he's perfect.
He needs a Paul Heyman type manager, and he'll thrive.
Yes.
Because you can basically just have him a smaller version of Brock. And the manager speaks, he goes in, messes you up, and leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And then let's anyway, moving on. What other titles changed hands?
And changed hands. Well, I'll skip through these then, because the Young Bucks defended their tag team championships against the Acclaimed and FTR. There was a gauntlet match, which I think we talked about already.
Yeah, we talked about the gauntlet.
Which I'm kind of surprised on this one. Will Ospreay defeated MJF for the AEW American Championship, which I think the championship looks ugly.
Well, here's the whole story of it, because I've been following this one very closely. So originally it was the AEW International Championship, which is essentially the Intercontinental title, which was held by Will Ospreay for a while. It's when MJF and Ospreay had that 55-minute match that Maxwell ended up winning that belt. That's the one where Max had the oxygen tank afterwards. And, he changed it because, MJF got an MJF. He changed
because
it
he was
to
on
the
his
American
U.S.
title.
agent arc, right?
Yeah, because he changed it to the AEW American title. Because, and I'm quoting here when I said this, I'm changing it to the only country that actually matters.
Wow.
The United States of America.
Is MJF just a fucking Metal Gear villain?
I think he's worse, to be honest with you. He's worse.
You're gonna change the name of the title, and then the first major defense of that title, you lose it. That is not putting a good precedent or making America look good. We're the first time we defended it and we lost.
Well, let's be perfectly honest.
Even though Will Ospreay is on a higher, I feel like Will Ospreay is on a higher trajectory.
Yeah,
Hold
that's.
on, I'm trying to remember the bit.
I mean, like that's the big thing here. Is like Will Ospreay is in his home country, and so of course they're
Not
gonna
everybody's
have
Drew
him win.
McIntyre.
Of course they're gonna have Will Ospreay win in Wimbledon. Like, come on now, in front of his countrymen. Come on.
The best part of that match was when Will Ospreay said to MJF, "That's a nice argument, Max. Why don't you back it up with a source?" And then MJF said, "My source is that I made it the fuck up, Will."
Oh God, I don't know that he hit him with that, but I know there was a promo segment last Dynamite before the pay-per-view where Maxwell. By the way, if you guys haven't had the chance to watch that promo segment, you absolutely should, because I thought it was very cool. Maxwell, he didn't mention that, but he did mention the idea that he potentially maybe slept with Ospreay's wife, because he brought up the idea of like. So apparently, what happened here is Ospreay married a woman who had a child in a previous marriage. So Maxwell brought up the fact
that he was that kid's dad.
No, he didn't imply that. He's like, so Ospreay, I had a conversation with your wife this week, and while your first kid wasn't yours, I have a feeling your next child won't be yours either.
Ooh.
I know, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's pretty fucking evil, right?
Why is he stating, you guys? Why is he actually stating?
And here's the thing. I don't even feel like I'm doing it justice. Like, I think if you guys want to, you should genuinely watch this segment afterwards. You can pull it up on YouTube. But I heard him say that line, like, "Oh my god, Max."
That's why I can't wait for Raw to be on Netflix. Bro, an R-rated Gunther. Not calling, that's gonna be crazy. Cause Gunther's a savage too on the mic. He's starting to be a complete savage.
You think he's gonna start implying that he slept with other men's wives?
No,
but he can say a lot more. He'll be able to say a lot more fucked up shit.
Oh god, but like, oof. I don't know, but I overall
that line
was an
that
amazing
MJF
match.
said was dirty. That's insane.
Yeah, I felt that. I could feel the pain in your soul through the computer, Scott. I ain't gonna lie, man. I could feel just like the pain in your soul. But yeah.
Yeah, want me to continue the?
Yeah, finish it up, man, because we got a prediction game to play.
We have, you said only new winners, but I'll also add that the worst title match in the card that I'm happy to announce is Mercedes Moné versus Britt Baker for the TBS Championship.
I don't know why you'd be happy to announce this, but okay.
Because we have one person in Mercedes Moné who is conceited and will only do things as long as she's the center of attention. And we have Britt Baker, which I don't normally have a problem with, but I do have a problem, and I will allow people to correct me. I actually would rather you correct me on certain topics of the history of wrestling. But I remember a company saying, we're not going to be a certain company that tells a person to come back, that makes a return after a while and instantly gets a title shot. And once again, I think Britt Baker recently came back and she gets a title shot right away. And this wound up being a terrible match, full of botches.
Yeah, unfortunately this match did not live up to the standards that a lot of people had for
I didn't see it, so I'm not going to say anything.
But yeah, no, it is a bit of an unfortunate. I'm not as happy to say this as Scott is. Apparently, I can feel his ass grinning through the screen right now. But yeah, no, unfortunately, this was not one of the better matches on the card. That is the only thing that I will say.
Alright, yes. Darby Allin, I know he wasn't the champion, but he got his first loss, in which also doesn't make sense. I feel like I do remember them saying that, oh, we're gonna give this win-loss ratios because, you know, we won't have people skipping over somebody as long as you're next and you have the best record, but I'll skip that. A coffin match, which was awesome because we haven't seen that in WWE in a long time, so it was kind of great seeing that. And with a short return of Sting helping Darby Allin before they lit the casket on fire, with him in a body bag. He was in a body bag in the casket, and they almost lit it on fire, because they poured gasoline all over it.
All right.
It was also the return of Sting, I believe, as well.
Yeah. I don't think it's a full-on return. That much I know that Sting showed up, but I don't think he's going to come out of retirement. This is more like when...
No, he's not coming out of retirement.
I want him to stay, but I just want him to be a manager. That's it. Just be Darby's manager.
That would be interesting.
That would be more than enough. As long as we get that. And, yeah, the last title, well, we already talked about, which was Daniel Bryan Danielson won over Sir Strickland.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, no, overall, I thought it was a very successful show, to be honest with you. I know we're not the kindest to AEW on this podcast, unfortunately, but I think that this was overall a very entertaining pay-per-view. It was very entertaining card.
It was pretty good. Surprising with a lot of title changes, because I know they don't really do that much, so it was kind of cool to see that.
But like I said, this is kind of like their SummerSlam. So, you know, if you're going to have title changes, it should be this show.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to our main event of the evening. We got another one happening this weekend. Another live event happening in Berlin, Germany.
Alright.
The Bash of Berlin.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right, yeah.
Oh god. Alright.
Sorry, I was just really excited.
And of course...
Mom can't talk about where it's going to be today.
Oh god.
Oh my god, what was that?
He's busting out the accent.
Oh my god, was that his German accent?
Yeah, I thought the party's happening and Sweaty Man rolling around on the canvas.
Tell them what this pay-per-view is going to today.
Why am I doing the show with Hans and Franz now? What the heck?
That is Scott, and I am Braun, and we are here to pop you off.
You're a freaking idiot.
You brought it up, Peter Kid.
Oh my god. Bash of Berlin. Oh my god. I pray to God we don't have any German viewers.
We love you, Deutschland.
Oh god. Anyway, Bash of Berlin premium live event happening this Saturday. We got the card in front of us, so that means it is time once again to play the prediction game. We are each going to give our thoughts on the cards, so let's get down to it. Like I've said already, and as I'm sure you've all noticed at this point, Dom is not with us. I do have his predictions in front of me as he texted in our Discord chat, so I will just be reading
at one point, I really do want to see what that book looks like. Like, we're halfway through. I really want to see what that book looks like.
That'd be
where we write down all of our predictions.
Yeah, at some point I really do want to see who's, like, winning all of this.
Like, I kind of want to know halfway through, but I kind of just want to wait to see what the total was.
Yeah, I kind of want to see too.
We'll continue.
But anyway, let's talk about the first match, which is a mixed tag team match. The Judgment Day, Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio, or Boo, going up against the Terror Twins, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest.
AKA Judgment Day Hollywood versus Judgment Day Wolfpack.
Basically.
That's what I'm calling. I'm not calling them the Terror Twins. I'm sorry, that name is stupid.
Yeah, it's not a great name. I'll give you that. It's not a fantastic name. But yeah, no. How have you been feeling about this storyline so far?
I mean, it makes sense that they take the most over members of the Judgment Day and turn them face.
I mean, I was waiting for the time to come because I knew. I mean, even though it was a while afterwards, I knew Bloodline goes. I'm waiting for Judgment Day next, and the whole Judgment Day is next.
So, here is my thing, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before on the podcast. When it comes to this new Judgment Day, this is the least intimidating group I think I've ever seen. Like, the least intimidating group I think I've ever seen, man.
Imagine if all the Hot Topic kids you went to high school with tried to start a street gang.
Like, the crazy thing, usually I would yell at him for a reference like that, but the thing is, he's kind of right here. All of the presence and the aura of the Judgment Day, I felt like it really did rest on Damian and Rhea. So now that those two aren't in the group anymore, this I'm sorry to tell you, like, this, really? Who's your big man right now?
Yeah,
Carlito?
Why is Carlito there?
Also, yeah, that's a good question. Why the hell is Carlito in the group?
I wanted Carlito back for his solo runs because I liked his character, but at this point he's just there to be there. And because they have nothing else for him, and it was probably a waste of a signing in their eyes. But they won't say that. I have no problem saying that, but it was a waste of signing him if this is what he's been doing. Somebody else can see. I forgot where I was getting at, but I remember now, guys. You also gotta remember, their muscle of the group. It seems like it's JD McDonough.
If JD McDonough is the muscle of your group, I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he is, but the way he acts like he's the muscle. Like, I will be the person to step you out. And he's just the least intimidating person there.
He is the least intimidating member.
Scott, whenever he says that I will be the one to face this person, that's code for I'm the one who's going to do the job tonight.
It's like, I will be jobbing this match tonight.
No, it was just like Finn Balor was like, I'm joining the group, I just need some random people here, guys, come join. Because it's only Finn and Dom are the only two people that look like they belong.
Yeah,
I've never believed that JD McDonough was a member, because also the fact that he was supposed to leave the group because he lost to R-Truth, and that was the stipulation in the match.
I think that was more.
And he never left. So.
I think that was more of a joke than anything else. But
they made the stipulation so he could leave.
I don't
know. I'm amazed they haven't really tried. Well, they did for like 1 week, but yeah. No, this is. Yeah, I don't know, man. This Judgment Day sucks. I can't.
And it's not even the fact that, like, physically they're not intimidating. No, I'm sorry. We've been doing this for 3-4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks now. I think one time they were able to lay out Damian and Rhea. The rest of those weeks, these 5 have been getting their asses whooped on Raw.
Oh,
they've been getting their asses kicked. Like, come on now.
Right. It's Finn, Dom, and JD and their new Judgment Day members, the Caribbean Nightmare and a Mean Girls reject.
Liv is. It's blatantly obvious with Liv Morgan that when it comes to when it doesn't come to a match, you're pretty much useless, and Rhea shows you that every single time. But Rhea Ripley is also big enough of a wrestler that she could mess up. The Munchkins of Lollipop Guild and the three other guys. Like, they're so small compared to them.
It's just like, there is nothing imposing about this new Judgment Day. You know, they can't even beat up 2 people. There are 5 of them. There's 5 of you. Like, come on now.
It's 4v1. Because they don't really go after Rhea. Rhea just goes after them.
Okay, even still,
4v1.
Damien beats the shit out of most of them.
Prince is wrecking all of them.
Like, are you being serious?
So Damien and Rhea are winning, right? Like,
oh god. See, here's the thing, man. Well, hold on. Is that your prediction, Francis?
I mean, it's obvious.
Oh god. Yes, it is obvious, Francis. That's why Dom and Liv are gonna win.
You're a dick.
I mean, listen.
Okay.
It is obvious.
I know.
At this point. But here's the thing. It's too obvious. It's too obvious at this point. You know, you gotta be. Triple H has to be looking at this group right now. It's like, oh my god, there isn't a damn imposing one out of one of you. Like you've all been getting. I think at this point, and I'm gonna put this as my extra point as well. We are going to see them bring in some. They're going to be bringing in some muscle into the group. I don't know who. I don't know who it's going to be yet.
Yeah,
no, it's going to be somebody bigger than JD. It's going to be somebody bigger.
It's going to be JD wearing a mask.
Yeah, it's going to be his brother DJ. No, but I think maybe potentially a new member of Judgment Day, somebody a bit more physically imposing, you know, that can actually, you know, hold his own against somebody like Damien. And I do believe that there will be Judgment Day interference in this match, and that's going to lead to Liv and Dom winning. Funny enough, that is Dom's pick as well, apparently. Our Dom.
So you picked the Judgment Day interference, or you picked a new member? So I feel like that would be two separate.
I say new member.
I know Dom's answer, but for yours.
I say a new member. And Dom says Judgment Day interference.
Alright, well, I will go with Judgment Day interference, because it's obvious. Out of all the things, that's obvious is they're going to interfere, so I agree with Dom on that one. But I will go on the more sensible side, even though if we might be wrong. I'll be on the more sensible side and saying it doesn't matter if they show up, because Dom and Rhea and Damien are going to win.
Oh, it's Scott and Francis against Cap and Dom.
I find it funny how you said, yeah, I'm going to take the sensible side. I'm going to go with Francis.
Oh, don't worry. I know when Francis is not being sensible. And the last two predictions has shown that. So, but I believe Rhea and Damien are going to get this.
Thank you.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. So, yeah,
it's nice to know that at least someone here doesn't think I'm a raving psychopath.
He still thinks you're a raging psychopath. I hope you know that.
No, I think he's the giddiest horn dog.
I wasn't being horn dog all night.
Speaking of which, we also have let's talk about the next match here, which will be See, here's the thing. I am looking for the card because there is a match here. We don't have all the participants. Oh yes, of course. The WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. The Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill.
The Union are team.
Really?
Yeah. I honestly think it's time for Jade to start moving up in the world. Maybe she can turn I'll do an add-on to this, seeing as how I haven't really done that in the last prediction game. I think either Bianca or Jade are going to turn heel on each other. I'm not sure which one, but I think it's going to happen.
Jade, if anybody, and if any of the two, I would say.
So,
but I just don't know about this match because I don't know why the tag team champions for the women's is still around, because it's never on TV, and when it is, it's the most boring thing to watch. I would much rather see a mid-card title for the women's than a tag team match, because they also don't really show that they have that big group. Like AEW's women's division is bigger, I feel like, so they're able to do tag. Well, something they probably would be able to do. WWE's is like, it's mainly recycled groups, and the rest are just there to be there. But if I had to pick one with no confidence whatsoever, because it's the only title match, this is the only championship I have no confidence in my pick, it's gonna be retained. I don't know what the team name is, but all I know is they look more sensible.
Union or something?
The Unholy Union.
They look more sensible. Yeah, they look more sensical as a tag team, and anything in the darkness is always interesting to me in the wrestling.
Fair enough. Here's my thing with my regards to this match. I think Francis is 100% correct, actually, so I am going to actually agree with him entirely. I think the Union not only retains, I think we are finally getting this split between Jade and Bianca. At this point, I think Jade is more likely to turn on Bianca. And I say this entirely because of her heel run in AEW, and that was absolutely the work that got her noticed by the world. So I'm saying Jade turns on Bianca at this point, and the Unholy Union retain. We start getting this rivalry going in the right direction.
I think Jade is gonna change sides, but I don't think it's gonna be this pay-per-view, so I did put it as my extra point. But for sakes of that topic, Jade needs to go solo. This is a miserable run. She's barely on TV, and she was put into a tag team situation in which she should have never been in. She should have never been in the tag team division. She should have went straight for champion, not straight into a championship, but solo, quick, oh, she's coming up fast, we need to stop her.
Yeah, no, and I think it's time for her to do that as a heel.
100%.
I think it's time for that now. I think it is. Dom has Jade and Bianca winning the gold.
So it's the three of us against Dom.
Yes it is. Next up.
Sorry, brother.
Next up, hey guys, you guys remember the CM Punk Drew McIntyre match at SummerSlam? And how how much we mentioned that this was probably going to be the most brutal match on the card?
Yeah, and then Punk and Drew said, "Hey, want to see us do it again?"
Well, this time they're doing it while whipping each other. That's right. The next match on the card is CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a strap match. Now, how the strap match will work is the two of them will be tied together, and the winner of this match will be decided by who can touch all four corners of the ring. Personally, don't love that stipulation, but it is what it is. I think more so we're all going to be watching this match so that these two can absolutely whip the shit out of each other, and somebody is getting choked out with a leather strap. So, your thoughts?
Punk gets it back in blood.
Yeah, I 100%. I'll stretch that on his answer. Yeah, I think Punk wins this one. I don't see any reason. With Drew's recent win-loss record being mostly losses because of CM Punk causing him to lose, and with CM Punk just coming back, you need to stretch this out as long as possible. It doesn't matter how many times they verse, people are interested in these two because they are literally I would say, with how the promos are going, and obviously when you talk about the best of the best in WWE, it's very slim because they're all great at what they're doing. but this is probably the best 2 in the business right now, and you need to stretch this because
not only that, Scotty, but also like, do you know Bad Blood is the next pay-per-view, right?
Yeah, this is absolutely getting pushed to Bad Blood.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a perfect end for the trilogy.
Absolutely, it would be. It absolutely would be. I think they brought it back entirely just for this feud, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I still believe it.
And so with that being said, I am going to agree with the 2 of you. I'm going to say CM Punk wins this match. Especially because I think he needs it. I think he needs this one. I will also agree that this is probably the best storyline in WWE at the moment. Just because you genuinely don't know who's actually the good guy here. Because to be perfectly honest with you, the both of them are kind of bad guys right now. Like, neither one of them, I hesitate to say that either one of them are particularly good guys here.
Alright, I think that's 3 of us against Dom again.
Yeah, because Dom also said that Drew will beat CM Punk for this. Anyway, moving on to the
Yo, I'm telling you, it's either Dom's gonna surprise the holy hell out of us, or he's gonna have some catching up to do in this tournament. Like, the way he's picking, like, he's been opposite from majority, except for that fight.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree here. Anyway, moving on to the first of the 2 title matches. Let's talk about the man himself, Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. I will go first. I think it's very simple what is going to happen here. I think not only is Cody Rhodes winning the match, he will be retaining the title. I think it's time for a good old-fashioned KO heel turn. And I am making that my extra point, that at the end of the match, Kevin Owens turns heel.
I'm surprised he hasn't already.
I think...
We do have a go-home show, though.
Yeah, that's true. But, yeah, no, it's pretty... the thing about KO is that... you know, he's alright, I guess, when it comes to being a babyface. The man's immaculate as a heel. He is immaculate as a heel. So, that's why I'm thinking, you know what, it's time already. Enough of this babyface KO. We want the prize fighter back. We want the most hated man in WWE back. We want Kevin
the guy
Owens.
who beat up a guy and then had his son pin him.
Oh God.
Yeah. I'm definitely going with Cody Rhodes on this one. This one should be the obvious one. Yeah. And I will add my extra point into, yes, there will be, I won't say after the match, I will say there will be a heel turn. Because I don't know when it's going to happen. But that was one of the topics I wanted to talk about. But, you know, we switched over to AEW, and I didn't really think it was a big enough topic. But I feel like AO is so much better as a heel than he is a face.
Yeah. So you're also adding the extra point that KO turns heel?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll add that too. Cody wins, but KO does an evil.
Okay. All right. So, and Dom as well says that Cody beats KO. He did not include the extra point of KO turning heel, however. He did not include that point. And then the final match of the card, of course.
He's going to main event.
Oh, he's absolutely main eventing. It will be the Viper, Randy Orton, versus the Ring General, the King of the Ring. The King of the Ring, and your World Heavyweight Champion, Gunther. So, can we all agree that Gunther is obviously winning this match?
Gunther.
I think
it's
Gunther. Randy is going.
I think it's unanimous. Is that if I'm saying the word right? But I think it's obvious that he's going to win this, and I would just like to go and attack the social media community on TikTok for all thinking that Gunther's title run's going to be one person and lose because you think Randy Orton needs a title because he hasn't had one in a while, but yet he doesn't need it yet. I understand you want him to tie up Flair and Cena and possibly do this final Let's Get 17, but no, Randy's not winning this match. It was just the best person for this time.
I think it was the best person at this time because we mentioned the community. The community also made it very clear that they noticed the botched finish at King and Queen of the Ring, and I give kudos to WWE. They didn't steer away from it. They did admit it. I give them credit for that. I don't think I've seen that out of this company in a very long time, if I have ever seen it from them. So I think that they've been handling it very well, and I'm perfectly okay with the botch since we are now getting a Randy Orton versus Gunther 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
And unlike certain other sequels, I think this one's going to be phenomenal, to be honest with you. But I think we're all in agreement that Gunther does end up winning that. Double checking Dom's.
I would love to see AJ Styles versus Gunther next.
That would be interesting. Although AJ is
just because you said phenomenal. I would love to see his springboard, forearm move. It's been a while. I haven't heard of it. It's into a chop in midair. I think that sounds like an amazing spot.
I think it would be interesting to see who Gunther's next opponent will be. But that is a story for another episode.
I think we covered all the basics.
I think we have. We've covered the entire card, man. So those are our picks. Obviously, we will be watching this weekend.
And Dom did pick Gunther. That's why we said unanimous.
Yes. Dom also said Gunther. So,
Francis, nobody cares about your predictions. Don't put it in the chat.
Nah, it's just so Dom can put it in his book of secrets.
Yeah. So anyway, folks, I think we are going to wrap up the show there. We want to thank you once again for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel because we will be putting the VODs of our brand new Twitch channel onto the YouTube page. We're really excited, to be honest with you, to start doing live content, to start having conversations on Twitch with not only us, but with you all, with the fans. And it's going to be an awesome time. We got a lot of great things planned, so I am looking forward to it. WWE is not the only people that are moving platforms, people. It's the push as well. And as per usual, be sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram for daily wrestling content and wrestling news. But that's pretty much it. For all of us here at The Push, my name is Cap.
Scott Bash.
And I'm Francis.
He's not here, but somebody ring that bell for me.
Ding, ding, ding.